Previously on Historical Geocaching, my family and I are visiting the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse and Museum just south of Daytona Beach, Florida. Most recently, Earl Davis has been telling us of how his wife was born to the last lighthouse keeper before the station was decommissioned.
And welcome back everybody to another edition of Historical Geocaching on the road with geocacher T and Photobug from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Currently vacationing in Florida, having a lot of fun with my family, visiting the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse and Museum. This video I'm going to show you the principal keeper's house where he lives. So come on, let's learn some awesome Florida history.
The exhibits began with the retelling of Florida's first people, the Timucuan Indians, and their interactions with Europeans from Spain, France, and England. In 1835, the Americans decided to build a lighthouse on the south shore of Ponce Inlet. However, due to the engineering oversights of the architects and fears of Indian attacks, the problems were never addressed and the tower was allowed to collapse into the sea a year later. Raids on Cuba, i.e. modern-day pirating, as well as the development of aviation, were subjects also discussed in the exhibits, which were very well done, and I thoroughly enjoyed viewing them. In order to help persons who were shipwrecked on these inhospitable Florida shores, the Life-Saving Service contracted with Albert Blaisdell in 1875 to build 5 houses of refuge along the lower east coast of Florida. All the houses, constructed from the same set of plans, were wood frame with an upper floor to provide a dormitory for shipwrecked survivors, while the lower floor was occupied by a resident keeper and his family. As the years passed, the Life-Saving Service realized that 5 more houses of refuge were needed along Florida's upper east coast. In 1885, the New York firm of Francis Hobskin Smith won this contract, and the construction began. At about the same time, the service also constructed life-saving stations at Santa Rosa Island near Pensacola and at Jupiter Inlet along Florida's east coast. House of Refuge keepers were charged with patrolling the beach to watch for vessels in trouble and to use whatever means possible to aid shipwreck victims. After such shipwrecks, a keeper and his family would then house, feed, and tend to the other needs of survivors until they were fit to travel on by other means. Caring for wreck victims was never routine and never easy. Keepers at the Florida houses had to travel between 4 and 24 miles just to purchase supplies. Sometimes the survivors would refuse to leave, hoping to take part in the lucrative salvage of ship and its cargo. As railroads took over more of the trade business, supporting marine businesses such as the houses of refuge were not needed anymore and were decommissioned. Only one is remaining today at Stewart and is preserved as a museum. I had the chance to visit it several years ago and it was a really cool experience. Be sure to check out that video as well. When the station was completed in 1887, it was not unusual for homes to be without running water and indoor plumbing. After 1900, an interest in sanitation began to grow in the United States, and by 1920 Americans were nearly obsessed with cleanliness, and the Lighthouse Service responded to this social change. In 1921, the light station underwent a major modernization when bathrooms were added by enclosing part of the porch onto each keeper's dwelling. The bathrooms were fitted with a sink, toilet, and tub, although there was no hot water.
Well, I hope you really enjoyed this video of the principal keeper's dwelling house here at the Ponce Inlet Lighthouse and Museum. Really cool to learn all this awesome history about Florida. I hope you've really been enjoying this. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check out more of my videos at youtube.com/TNPhotobug. And until next time, this is Geocacher TN Photobug signing out. I'm indeed having a blast with the bass.